Hey, it's just so Trish, and I know I talked about it before. I'm a failing homesteader, and I figured I would share with you just my journey to being self-sustainable, since it's not something I always talk about on my channel, but really plugging into the rest of the YouTube community that I tend to relate to. I realize it's time to start talking about it, so here it is. So I will tell you, we live on 9.5 acres in Southwest Florida, and I'm born and raised here, so I have a great concept. I've always been around just raising animals. Growing up, we would always keep a cow, we would raise pigs, we would garden, we would can, and I've always been around it. I mean, I was a member of the FFA and the 4-H, so if that doesn't give you credibility, I don't know what does. And I met my husband, and he's I don't know, something generation Floridian, which is like totally unheard of over here. So I just have always had a love for just being self-sustainable. I love the whole pioneer. My dad was a history buff, and I just loved it. And I loved every bit about it. I was reading like how to find edible plants. And, you know, so I was kind of like this ecologist kind of minded conservationist, like Fred Bearish. And I was up in the FFA, which sometimes I didn't always blend well, and then I was with the kind of the environmental conservationist, and I resembled too much of the FFA for them. So I've always been kind of in the crosshairs of it. But my goal has always been, even in college, was the fact of just trying my best to be self-sustainable. Financially, resourcefully, energy, just that's been my goal. And so I will tell you, we lived on a 1/2 acre, and if I was filming videos then, I should have been. I'm a little bit sad that I waited so long in my life to start video documenting just our road, our journey in our life. But if I did, you would have seen in that 1/2 acre the gardens I grew and the cabbages I grew, the rabbits we were using, the chickens, and I mean growing sugarcane, having a free-flowing well in town, in the middle of town, and canning. My canning pantry was just amazing, and just practicing a self-sufficient lifestyle the best I can. And I know, you know what, there's probably so many of you that are kind of doing the same thing, that you're living in town and you're learning your skills and you're practicing, and it's like, if I could move out to some property, I could make this happen. Oh, I'd have this and I'd have that. Well, 2 years ago, we moved out to some property. We've moved out into 9.5 acres, and I feel like just some of the most God-blessed land that's still available here, because there's not much of it. It's disappearing really quickly. And, you know, my thoughts are like, we're going to have cows, and we're going to have this, and I'm going to have a big garden, and I'm going to do all my canning and my chickens and what have you. And 2 years later, things aren't moving like they did in the smaller house, on the smaller amount of property, because guess what happened with more property? More work, more absolute work. And so I kind of made the comment, I'm a failing homesteader, I'm doing a horrible job, I'm a fake, I'm a fraud. And I had to come to realizations that it's not always about trying to be completely self-sufficient, but just trying the best. So in the last 2 years, I've only had about 3 canning events, which is totally unheard of for my typical canning. I mean, I had to buy my canner a friend because it felt so lonely. Not really. I was running 2 canners at all times. And I mean, I haven't canned much at all. I haven't been putting up food like I used to. I mean, I don't even, like before, I couldn't grow the vast amount, so I would just go to the farmers markets and I'd buy large amount of vegetables from the farmers market and put it up. And I would make pickles, and I would make all these things, and I haven't done it. Some of the reason I haven't done it is we moved here, and there's a lot of resettlement you kind of got to do. There's no fencing. We can't get very many animals without fencing. We've built a few coops that's worked out good. I have a garden that's larger than I should have made, because I felt like I have more, I should do a bigger garden, and I just didn't. And it's a walk from the house. Before, my garden was 2 steps out my back door. Now my garden's about 1,000 feet, and that kind of changes things. it does change things. And then, so I've cut my garden in half, so I'm not gardening as much. It's still big, but you can't grow much when the rabbits are out of control. And I haven't had that issue when I was in town. The rabbits weren't out of control, and here they've leveled my garden twice. So when I talk about kind of being a failing homesteader, being self-sustainable, I feel like my journey is on a long pause. And so I haven't talked about it. I haven't discussed what I'm trying to cook up or what I'm thinking. All I'm doing is making plans, and I'm trying to kind of prepare for when I can. And it's not all, I mean, some of it's situational, because we got here, I was only here 2 months, just unpacking, and I got pregnant. And when I get pregnant, I'm tired. I am on the couch and not really functioning much. I have 6 children. I get done with being pregnant and I have postpartum depression. I don't get much done. I don't. So I'm going to do some series of videos of the things I have gotten done and the things I have been doing in the midst of being on pause. So when I'm no longer on pause for being self-sustainable, there's some chickens that got an issue. So when I'm no longer on pause and I'm ready to get back to like being going forth in my purpose that I have for myself, I will be ready. So look forward to that. I'm going to be sharing it, and hopefully soon I won't be on pause, and I'll be joining all the really cool homesteaders and being self-sustainable and just showing you what we've got going on here in Southwest Florida. And it's a neat place. It's a wonderful place. It's a great place to homestead. It's a great place to figure out how to be self-sufficient. But don't get caught up in the rat race, because it's everywhere around you, and it's something you have to fight with. So anyways, it's just so Trish. Look forward to my future videos. I will see you later.